Welcome back to another episode of Anand Sahib, and we're going to be talking all about worries and how do we get rid of the troubles in our life today. We're looking at verse 18, and this begins by Guruji saying, "By rituals, tranquility does not arise, and without tranquility, worries do not depart. Worries do not depart by any restriction or rituals performed. The spirit is polluted by worries, so what restriction can wash them off? Wash the mind by embracing the word, remain with Hari by applying awareness. Says Naanak, by Guru's grace, tranquility arises. This worry departs in this way." So we're carrying on from the teachings of the last verse where the Guru was talking about making religious offerings for some personal benefit. And in this verse, Guru is talking about those same offerings and religious actions, but now it's not for personal benefit, but it's to solve all your worries, to solve all the problems in either your life or around the world. And Guru starts by saying, "Karmee sahj na upjai, vin sahjai, sahsaa na jaa-ay." By rituals, tranquility does not arise. Without tranquility, worries do not depart. So Guruji talks about this word sahj and sahsaa. Now we've heard this word sahj before in Anand Sahib. It was actually right at the beginning in verse 1 where Guru said, "Satgur ta paya sahj seti man vajiyan vadhaiyan." The true Guru was obtained with tranquility, and songs of celebration resound within the mind. So, at the very beginning of Anand Sahib, if you remember, it was a celebration. The first verse was all about celebrating that I found the true Guru. And when I found the true Guru, I had all of these songs of celebrations and melodies, and my life was so much filled with all of this rejoice and jubilation. But a word that was introduced right there was stillness was also brought into my life. There was this tranquility. And so this sahj is an unwavering stillness in our life. It's essentially just another word for anand, pure tranquility. And it's really when the mind reaches this deepest state of relaxation, when the mind is able to let go at such a profound level that it's when you experience absolute stillness within yourself. And that doesn't mean you have a silent mind. It means you are free from all the burdens of your worries. You're free from the burdens of things that you've been holding on to. You're free from all of those things. And when you're free from them, then there is this calmness, this peacefulness, this bliss or anand, which is what your life is all about. And the truth of the matter is most of us don't live in this way. In fact, this is why the Guru said that Bhagtan ki chal nirali. The devotees are living a very unique way of life. And most of us are actually living in the opposite way. Our mind is full not of sahj, but sahsaa. And the word sahsaa is agitation. It's the opposite of stillness. It's worries, it's distress, it's doubts, it's problems, it's skepticism, it's suspicion. And if we think about our life, it's funny that it feels like we're never actually far away from some worries or some plans that we have to make. Our whole life is this continuous cycle of plans. It's a stream of concerns, of obstacles that we need to overcome. And it feels like we're not able to sustain peace for very long in our life at all. We've always got something new to worry about. We're always picking something else that our mind needs to be concerned about. And if we're not worried about ourselves, then we're busy worrying about other people, worrying about the world. And we almost have convinced ourselves that this is a good way to live. This is a way that we are being very responsible by solving our problems, but also then thinking about other people's problems and how do we fix those. But while we want to live in that way and we want to help other people, we also don't want the stress and anxiety that comes with having a mind that's so busy all the time. So we want to help others, but we also want to help ourselves and be in peace, and we don't want to have the mental turmoil that comes with such a busy mind. And so this is where we start to now understand that the impact of having these bridges that we build in our life, the bridges that we build with the world, with our attachments, which is called Maya, we start to realize that you can't build bridges with the world without carrying the burdens that come with them. And so worries are things that are constantly happening in our mind. And we need to actually understand a little bit about the nature of worries itself. What is actually happening in the mind? Really, we can think about worries as just a constant mental narrative, a retelling of the same story again and again. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you've ever had a big fight or an argument with someone, long after that argument is over, your mind just keeps replaying that story again and again. So anytime you experience a trauma, you keep going over that story again and again, and you either replay it or you think about new ways that you should have done it. I should have said this, I should have done this. And so that's really what worries is your mind constantly replaying the same trauma again and again. And when you start to study a little bit about the biology of stress, for example, you start to see that the body is not able to distinguish between a problem that is happening right now or a problem that is happening in your mind. The body actually has the same stress response. If you are experiencing a difficulty right now, your body starts releasing all these chemicals, these fight or flight chemicals in the body in order to react to it. But if you keep thinking about it and keep inducing those thoughts, then your body is also going to continue to release those stress hormones in your body in the same way as if you were facing that trouble right now. And the science is so clear that the prolonged release of these stress hormones in our body has so many different harmful effects over time, and it affects our breathing and affects our heart, and it can even cause cancer. There are so many problems that come with constantly worrying all the time. And I want to share with you a personal example which was a real eye-opener for me. A few years ago, I was putting myself under a lot of pressure at work, and I had certain goals and targets that I was trying to achieve. And what I was doing was I was spending a lot of time putting pressure on myself, comparing myself to the success of other people, always obsessing over how do I make my life and my career and my work even better. So I was living weeks and weeks of real restlessness and agitation, and something very strange started happening to me. I started having regular nightmares in the middle of the night. I started having dreams of accidents, of things happening to my children. Really sort of stressful situations were happening night after night. And this is really uncommon for me, and I'm certainly not one of those people who watches a lot of horror movies or anything like that. So I know that it wasn't the impact of something that I was watching. And I had to think about it for a while, like, why all of a sudden am I having these nightmares? The more I thought about it, I realized that what my body was doing was my body was trying to create stress because it thought that I needed a certain level of stress in order to function in the day. During my day, I was so stressed that my body realized that he needs this level of stress to function in the day, so we're going to wake him up in a certain level of stress. We're going to induce stress. My body was inducing and creating stress within me because it thought that's what I needed in order to function within my day. And when I realized that that's what I was doing to myself, I realized that the harm that I was causing myself, I had to take a step back. I had to reevaluate and just look at how I was causing my own distress even more just by having this stressful mindset at work. I was actually causing myself to have stressful nights as well. So we really need to understand how it's really our attachments that causes our problems in life. And you can't solve your troubles and problems, you can't get rid of worries in life without understanding the relationship that you have with your attachments itself. And unfortunately, far too many people in the world just don't have this understanding. They're still stuck with these old ways. We're still stuck with ideas that are ancient and religious, that somehow we have to do things and change our actions in order to feel better. But the reality is it's all about our mindset. And Guru carries on in the next line by saying, "Nahi jaa-ay kitai sanjam, rahay karam kamaa-ay, sahsai jee-o maleen hai." Worries do not depart by any restrictions or rituals performed. The spirit is polluted by worries. So Guru is talking about two things here. sanjam and karam, your restrictions, actions that you do that you somehow control yourself, restrain yourself, restrict yourself in some way, or certain any religious actions or any actions that you're trying to do. And even today, there are thousands of people all over the world who believe that if you perform some sort of religious action, if you make some sort of offering, you can do it with a hope that somehow it's going to score you some points with God, and somehow God is going to solve your problems. And and this is in every religious tradition. Even within the Sikh tradition, there are people who are performing seva in the Gurdwara, doing lots of service. That might be, helping serve food or cleaning dishes or cleaning shoes. But without an understanding of Naam, without an understanding of that divine perspective, I am divine, I am not me, the individual. We are all part of a oneness. The oneness is doing everything through me. Without understanding that divine perspective, there's really no use to any of this seva or any of these religious actions. And if we look at other traditions, we see traditions of fasting for the well-being of someone else. You fast, you don't eat, so that God can look favorably on your partner or your friends or your beloveds. You see ideas of visiting holy places or making donations to solve a particular problem. If I feel bad and I go to this temple or I visit this holy place and I bow there, I give money there, I do certain actions there, the very action of going there is somehow going to earn me some brownie points in life. And we realize that if we think about it, none of our problems and certainly none of our worries in life have gone away. Things don't get solved in this particular way. Worries always remain at every moment. And it's as if our very essence, our spirit, as Guruji talks about here, our jee-o, is clouded with worries. Like our habit has become to be worrying all the time. And the Guru is teaching us there's a different way of dealing with this. And the way of dealing with this is by looking at our attachments, looking at our desires, and realizing that it's our attachments and desires that are really the cause of our problems. But so many times the mind will hear this, but the mind is stubborn. The mind is convinced that if I just solve all my problems, if I just get this fixed and this and this and this, and I get my family to do this, and I get other people to behave like this, and I can sort this out in my career and do this with the weather and solve these problems and buy this new technology or buy these things, if I just solve all the issues, then surely I'm going to have lots of peace. And anyone who has lived life with a little bit of life experience will say, you know what, worries don't go. There's always something new. There's always a new thing for you to attach yourself to. There's always a new bridge for you to build, and you start worrying about how do you solve that, or how do you make that relationship better. So we go on trying to fix everything in our life, and where things can't be fixed, then we make a prayer to God that we can do whatever we can, but God, I need you to fix these things in my life. And the solution is not to solve all your problems. That's really not the solution in life. The solution is to transcend this unending cycle of desires, this unending cause of the worries itself. If you're doing some rituals, some religious actions with the hope of a reward, that somehow if I get this solved, then I'm going to feel better, you're not. You're not going to get anything that's going to make you feel better in the long run. Even if that thing gets solved, in the long run, you are going to come across more problems. You're going to come across more challenges, more things to cause you that stress and anxiety and distress. And Guru is trying to say, you need to transcend this. That the way is to break your cycle of desires and transcend to a place of tranquility. Go to that place within you that is desireless. Find the part of you that says a very simple statement that I like to live by is, I don't mind what happens. Make that your mantra for life. I don't mind what happens. With everything, with every part of your day, live your life in that way that says, if it comes, let it come. If it goes, let it go. These are the mantras, these are the ways of understanding that my mindset is what needs to be transformed, not the world around me. And the Guru is adamant that there's nothing that you can do with your body, no action that you can take that is going to solve your problems. It's the mind that needs to be transformed. When the Guru talks like this again and again, at some point we need to take a step back and ask ourselves some very serious questions about, think about all of the things that you're doing with your life. Think about your religious actions and ask yourself, are they truly bringing you peace? Is any spiritual thing that you're doing genuinely bringing you peace? Or if it's not doing it, then we need to reevaluate. We need to think about what is it that's doing. Are the spiritual books that you're reading, the lectures that you're downloading and listening to, the prayers that you're doing, the temples that you may be visiting, the diet that you've changed, the appearance that you may have changed, are these actually bringing you closer to long-lasting stillness? Are they bringing you tranquility, peace, which is really what you're looking for? Every man, woman and child is really just looking for tranquility, peace and happiness. And if your rituals, your religious, spiritual actions, worldly actions, whatever you're doing, even if you're not religious or spiritual at all, let's talk about the worldly things that you're doing. Are all the career goals and aspirations and all those things, are they bringing you peace? And if you're listening to Gurbani on a regular basis, if you're trying to convince your kids to read spiritual words, prayers, part, all of this needs to be reconsidered if it's not bringing you peace. There's a really beautiful verse from Bhagat Kabir Ji, and he says, "Kya padhiye, kya guniye, kya ved purana suniye." What use is reading and studying? What use is listening to the spiritual wisdom of the Veds and the Purans? Padhe sune kya hoi, jo sahj na miliyo soi. By reading and listening, what is achieved if that person does not find tranquility? So if peace hasn't happened in your life yet, then what are you doing? And more importantly, what can you do differently? And this is the question that Guru asks next. Kit sanjam Dhotaa jaa-ay. So what technique can wash them off? What restriction, what action can I do that will remove my worries from my life? And the Guru carries on by saying, Man Dhovahu, sabad laagahu, harsyon raho chit laa-ay. Wash the mind by embracing this word. Remain with Hari and apply awareness. Guru says it all comes down to your chit, your awareness. Where are you placing your awareness, your focus all day? And this is the same message as the last verse, which was talking all about your dhyan. Where is your attention? Guru is saying now here, where are your focus? What are you looking at? Look at verse 11, where Guruji talked about, "Ek kutam tujhe dekhda, chale nahi tere nale." This family that you observe and you look after all day cannot go along with you. Saath tera chale nahi, tis naal kyon chit laa-ay. Along with you, your family cannot go. Why do you remain focused on it? So Guru is saying, if you focus on problems all the time, then the natural outcome is going to be worries. That is the natural byproduct of spending all of your attention on worldly things. And so what is the solution the Guru is offering? The Guru is saying, and the Guru is reminding you to align yourself with the Shabad, with the message, with the core single message that the Guru is always saying, the higher perspective, the higher way of looking at things, your true nature, your highest divine self. Align your mind with that. So now we begin to understand, what does Guru mean by stillness? Stillness doesn't mean a silent mind. Stillness means to understand and embrace the message, to live according to this message, to let this message really sink into your mind that you are part of the universal vibration. You are the Shabad, the universal Shabad, the sound and vibration of the universe. That is what is happening with you. You need to keep your awareness on that. So embrace this divine part of you. Celebrate that you are this divine oneness, and let that be the thing that you embrace yourself with. Embrace the divine part of you the way that you've embraced all of your attachments. And the Guru reminds us all the while, why don't you connect with that which is permanent? The way you've connected with all these things that are temporary, you have to let go of all of those things, but you haven't connected with that which is already there, which is the life energy. Because I want to make it as simple as possible. I know sometimes when we talk about these things, they all sound like great words, but I want to make it as simple as possible for you. What do we mean by connecting with the divine? We literally mean there is an aliveness inside you. There is an electricity inside every single one of us. You and me and everyone else and everything else that is alive has this aliveness. And you don't need to understand it any more than that. You don't need to think about it any more than that. Whether you're religious or not, whether you believe in one tradition or not, whether you're atheist or not, you can completely all agree with this idea that we're all alive. There is a vibration, energy, sound, electricity, aliveness inside every single one of us. You are a part of that, and that electricity is what is running the show. That is the thing that makes you think the way it does. And we tried this in an experiment many verses ago. We looked at, can you predict your next thought? If you can't, you need to understand that you are not the creator of your thoughts. And if you're not the creator of your thoughts, then you're not the creator of the actions that come out of those thoughts. And these are all things that are just happening. They're going on all the time. And at the same time that this is all going on, there is a witnessing inside you that is watching it all as well. So the divine is doing everything and the divine is watching everything. It is all the story of the divine itself. So you have to understand that you don't need to take on the burden of all of these worries. And that doesn't mean you don't do any of your duties in life. It doesn't mean that you don't plan and you don't look after your responsibilities. It means that you do them, but you realize that that's not your highest purpose. Your highest purpose is to remember what you really are. Now, one of the most common questions that gets asked whenever we talk about connecting with hukam, letting go, acceptance, is how does acceptance impact ambition? Can I still be ambitious and have this acceptance mentality? Because if I'm accepting life, then what's my drive to do anything? How am I going to actually live in a way that I'm going to succeed? And the way I look at it is you have to ask yourself, what is driving your ambition? We are in a world right now where we're being taught that to succeed, to have this crazy work ethic. We have this great word these days used by the youngsters called hustle. And so you have to hustle and live in a way that's always trying to better yourself in some way or another. That is the key to success. And when I listen to these life coaches and these young entrepreneurs and celebrities, and they're all talking about the hustle, and I can't help but ask myself, but are you happy? Are you still? Are you calm? Are you peaceful? Because on the outside, that hustle can be great to earn worldly success. But if you have created a habit of constantly being agitated, then surely when you get all of those things, you remain agitated because you've never solved the agitation problem. You've become so accustomed to living in that agitated way of life that nothing that you gain is going to keep you still, because you become so used to just gaining and gaining and gaining more. And my concern is, where is your happiness throughout all of this? Because your hustle and what we're being taught is you need to work hard, because when you get all the stuff in life, then that's when you'll be happy. And there's a misconception here that happiness is at the end of all of your struggle. But you're not being driven by tranquility. You're being driven by sahsa. You're being driven by agitation, by discomfort. And when you find peace, when you find a way to be peaceful in this moment now, then you can be ambitious, but the reason for your ambition changes. All the people who are struggling and hustling and working really hard, they're doing it with the idea that if I do a whole bunch of things, actions, then I will feel happy at the end. And the Guru is teaching us, if you learn how to be happy now, what you do in the world can still be very productive, but the why is now different. You're now no longer ambitious for your own happiness, because you've already solved the happiness problem. You've already worked out the key to happiness. So you're no longer doing actions based out of an agitation or a discomfort. You're doing them out of stillness. And then your why changes. The why of what you're trying to do in the world changes. Before, The reason you were doing all these things, the why, was to get happiness. But if you get happiness, then you can still be very functional in the world, but your desire is no longer to solve your problems or to solve anyone else's problems or to make their life better in some other materialistic way. Then you can be driven to make other people happy, to spread happiness. So you can do so much great work, and you can see all the great spiritual masters in the world, the ones who had solved the happiness problem within themselves, didn't just sit and do nothing. They actually went out and helped a lot of other people, because they said, if I know how to be still and I found happiness, which everyone else is trying to look for, then they are then driven to be the providers of that happiness for other people as well. So you can have drive without desire for self-benefit. You can have drive where you are at peace whether it happens or not. You can have drive and ambition not coming from a place of agitation, without impatience, without this personal distress and agitation, this sahsaa. You can have drive coming from a place of happiness, because you're not trying to gain more money, you're not trying to get more respect from other people, you're not trying to get more happiness. You've already fixed that problem within yourself. So we need to understand what is the ultimate solution to worries that Guru is talking about here. And the ultimate solution is the divine perspective, is to take a step back, understand that the cause of my problems is the me, the cause of my problems is my attachments and my attachment to myself. And when I take a step back and realize that I am the divinity that is in me, through me, and all around me, this is what is actually happening right now. And this is really what Naam is. Naam should really just be translated as the divine perspective, to see the world from a different angle. So the angle of total detachment, the angle of being totally worry-free, and you're so worry-free, you're so transcended from your attachments that the ultimate worry of even death has gone. Because you're so free from any attachment, you're not even attached to being alive, you're not even attached to breathing. Everything becomes a grace, everything becomes a pleasure, everything is a source of happiness. So you've defeated all of the problems in your life. And this is the pinnacle of meditation. This is the pinnacle of relaxation. This is what Guru means by washing away all of your worries. You wash away the self. You wash away your selfhood. You wash away your limited identities of yourself and all of your attachments. And you relax at your deepest level. You relax all thoughts of yourself. You completely surrender and allow the universe to do whatever it wants to do. Whatever the universe wants to do, you let it happen. And this is how you begin to relax so deeply and you let go of yourself so deeply. It is known as being dead while alive. You experience dying while still being alive. And by dying, we mean that you're completely free to let yourself go. You experience death of worries by dissolving the worrier. And Guruji ends by saying, kahai naanak, gur parsaadee, sahj upjai, jee-o sahsaa upjai. Says Nanak, by Guru's grace, tranquility arises and worries depart in this way. Have a go at answering these questions, either by writing them down or by discussing them in a group. What are your biggest concerns and worries in life? When are you at your most peaceful? How can you remain tranquil and fulfill your duties? What could remembering divinity practically mean for your life?